Hello and welcome to Euro Football Daily, where today we're looking at Europe's underachievers with 10 players enduring awful starts to the current campaign. 10. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Trent's continued attacking brilliance prevents him from placing higher on our list, but we couldn't leave out the Englishman after a notably lacklustre opening to the campaign. Liverpool have underwhelmed with 4 draws and 2 losses in their first 10 fixtures, and they're currently on track for their worst defensive performance across all competitions since 2014, with Trent singled out for a perceived lack of effort. He's still clearly the best attacking fullback in the world, with more chances created per game than Bruno Fernandes or Phil Foden, and more passes into the box than anyone in the Prem. But his defensive output is shocking, with 1 successful tackle every 2 games. Though his challenge success rate looks okay at 50%, he's less often in position to try and win the ball, with just 1.5 duels a game compared to a career average of 2.5, and pressing and aerial wins are both atrocious, in the bottom 6% of fullbacks worldwide. Not all of this is new. Trent has always compensated for mediocre defending with exceptional work in possession, but as another title slips away from the Reds, perhaps it's time the Liverpool native faced some competition for his spot. 9. Jean-Claire Todibo. It's been a rough start to the season for Nice. First, they lost coach Christophe Galtier to PSG, and though they replaced him with former boss Lucien Favre, they've suffered 5 defeats in their first 9 games to slump to 13th in Ligue 1, while star defender Jean-Claire Todibo has picked up 2 red cards already, making a repeat of last year's 5th place look an uphill climb. Todibo isn't the only problem. Kasper Schmeichel has also started poorly, and having conceded just 36 in 38 last term, they're on 11 allowed in 9 so far in 22-23. But the 22-year-old's recklessness, his second red against Angers setting a Ligue 1 record at just 9 seconds, is costing the Eagles points, and his numbers across the board are down, with long balls, passes into the opposition third, and duel success all slumping, while, unsurprisingly, his fouls per game have rocketed from 0.8 to 1.4 per 90, a clear sign that he's getting exposed far too often. According to the French press, the club has already held discussions with Mauricio Pochettino and Scott Parker over taking Favre's spot in the dugout. A change might be the only solution. 8. Aaron Ramsdale. It's a testament to the good mood around Arsenal right now that even the squad's less impressive performers are generally escaping criticism. The midfield has been largely below par, the defenders are still working on their chemistry, and keeper Aaron Ramsdale has not been stellar either, though his distribution, personality, and 3 clean sheets mean his popularity at the Emirates remains beyond question. Still, it's been almost a year of poor shot stopping from the Englishman now, with a save percentage of 65% down 7% from last season and rating below average across Europe. But Ramsdale has let in 8 goals from under 7 xG, a big difference in under a fifth of a season, and he's also seen diminishing success in crosses claimed and passing accuracy, finding his man with only 65% of his kicks and throws. It's poor timing with the World Cup approaching, and though the Gunners have started fast, it's an unnecessary handicap in what is likely to prove a tight race for Champions League football. Arteta will hope the 24-year-old can recover soon. With Bernd Leno gone, the Gunners need their number 1 to shine. 7. Milan Skriniar. After missing out on the Scudetto by just 2 points last season, Inter were expected to contend again this campaign, but so far the Nerazzurri have disappointed. At the time of writing they languish in 9th, and defence has been particularly bad, allowing 13 in 8 games, bettering only 5 Italian sides, and on track to let in 62 over the full season, compared to 32 conceded in 21-22. Particularly poor is Milan Skriniar, who perhaps has been unsettled by a summer of links to PSG. The Slovak remains a good passer, of course, completing 10 of 11 long balls each game, but everything else is down, with tackles and interceptions dropping to 2 a game, his worst mark ever, while his success in the challenge, percentage of successful pressures, and aerial win rate have all fallen, the latter now sitting at under 50%, unacceptable for a centre-half. He's also clearing the ball and running forward in possession less than ever before, hardly the leadership you expect from a 27-year-old who captains his national side. Inter do seem likely to recover, XG difference still puts them in a clear top 4, with Milan, Napoli and Roma. But without a swift uptick the title looks impossible, and Skriniar may not secure the contract he wants when his deal expires in 2023. 6. Casemiro. Swapping Real Madrid for Manchester United might have been an easy decision for Casemiro. He had nothing left to win in Spain and will earn a reported £80 million across his 4-year contract in England. But actually getting on the field has proved harder, with the Brazilian benched in favour of a pairing of Eriksen and McTominay, as United recovered from a nightmare start to win 4 league games on the bounce. That means that Casemiro has just 86 minutes in a red shirt at the time of writing, and his only start for the club has been in the Europa League, as United lost 1-0 at home to Real Sociedad, a game in which Casemiro led the side for progressive passes, but was dribbled past 3 times and lost all of his 5 aerial duels, putting him back on the sidelines for the Red Devils' subsequent away win over Sheriff Tiraspol. Hailed as the long-awaited solution to United's midfield woes at the time of his £50 million switch, one of the most decorated players of the last decade is instead currently an impact sub, brought on alongside Fred to shore up the rearguard in the dying moments of matches. Was it worth leaving the Champions League for this? 5. Patrick Schick. After a whopping 24 goals in 26 starts last season, powered by a Leverkusen to third in the Bundesliga, Patrick Schick's new contract, taking him up to 2027, was heralded as a major coup, a guarantee of goals which could sustain Die Werkself even if expected sales of Moussa Diaby and Florian Wirtz should come to fruition. But the Czech has lost his shooting boots in 22-23, netting just 2 after 8 games, and Leverkusen have fallen to 17th, putting coach Gerardo Seoane under pressure. Schick is still getting plenty of shots, 3.5 a game, which suggests the goals will come, but right now he ranks as the 11th biggest underperformer of expected goals in Europe, bagging his 2 strikes from 4xg. He's also producing less off the ball, with lower defensive work rate than last campaign, and his attempts to force a change in fortune have backfired too, losing possession nearly 5 times a match. Not what you want from a centre-forward charged with holding up play. With Demirbay, Hudson-Odoi, Diaby and Wirtz around him, Schick will continue to get service and chances to redeem himself, but with a 10-point gap to the Champions League places already, it might not be enough for his team. 4. Manuel Locatelli. Juventus have been poor overall this year, with Allegri and even top scorer Vlahovic coming under scrutiny in the Italian press. But perhaps the worst offender has been Manuel Locatelli. The club has invested a lot in the midfielder, not just in his €40 million fee, but in moving on Arthur and Bentancur to keep him. But at 24, he's still not producing the way he did at Sassuolo, sparking suggestions that the Bianconeri could countenance a sale. Unfortunately, nobody would want the current version of the Italian. Once putting up close to 80 passes a game, he's down to 33 this season, and the ones he does play are less valuable, with his successful balls into the final third sliding from 9 2 years ago to just 1 this term, and progressive passes at 2 per 90, a third of their former heights. Defensively, he's awful too, winning the ball 2.6 times a game and pressing just 11 opponents a match. To put those stats in context, they'd rank in the bottom 1 and 10% of all midfielders across a full campaign. In a side stripped of De Ligt and Chiellini at the back, Locatelli needs to step up and lead, especially with his 25th birthday approaching in January. By then, he might have a new coach to impress. 3. Koke. What has happened to Koke? Once one of the best deep creators in the world, getting into double figures for assists in 4 consecutive seasons between 2012 and 2016, the Spaniard was a target for Luis Enrique's treble-winning Barcelona, but since then he's gone off the boil, delivering just 3 goal involvements in 34 starts even as Atleti won the title in 2021, and overall contributing just 7 strikes and assists in the past 2 years. The stats make grim reading. 1.4 chances created a game might seem okay for a workman-like Atletico side, but it's only 6th in the squad, and in 7 appearances this season, he's passed into the final third just 3.8 times each match, the 3rd successive season he's declined, and putting him close to half his tally of 6.4 2 years ago. Though he's theoretically the heart of the side, 10 players at the Wanda Metropolitano press more frequently, and likewise 10 people win the ball more often, including attackers Griezmann and Carrasco, while he runs forward less and takes more bad touches than ever before too. As a result, it's no surprise that his teammates are passing to him less than they have in 4 of the last 5 campaigns, and that Atleti themselves look a shadow of the side which once cut a sway through Europe's elite. That, like Koke's peak, is fast becoming a distant memory. 2. Sadio Mane. It may seem harsh to put Sadio Mane in here. After all, the Senegalese has 4 league goals since his switch to Bayern Munich in the summer, but surely the German giants were expecting more from a man only just past his peak, and the fluidity promised by his signing hasn't shown up either, with Bayern picking up 3 draws and a loss from their opening 8 Bundesliga fixtures, going 4 games without a win for the first time in 20 years. Though he's featured up front and is taking more shots and creating fewer chances than ever before, Mane's tally of 4 is matched or bettered by 4 members of the Bayern squad, and when it comes to expected goals, he ranks 6th, with his rate of 0.6 xg per 90, a big drop from last year's 0.7. And despite the Bundesliga's reputation for lax defending, Mane isn't exactly practically unplayable, with his passing, dribbling and even his pressing lower than ever before, while he's been woeful in his 2 Champions League appearances, taking just 1 shot and completing 1 take-on in 160 minutes. There's already talk of him moving back to the wing, and rumours of a Harry Kane swoop next year to correct this failed experiment. It's hardly the easy march to silverware Mane must have expected. 1. Danny Ward. Sometimes a goalkeeping nightmare is funny, but in Danny Ward's case it's just unpleasant to see someone so out of his depth. The 29-year-old joined Leicester from Liverpool in 2018 for nearly £13 million and was promoted to number 1 after the departure of Kasper Schmeichel this summer. But while the Dane was far from his best at the time of his switch to Nice, Ward has failed to fill even his error-prone gloves. So far, Ward has let in 22 goals, the second most of all stoppers across Europe's top 5 leagues, and while the Foxes' defence has been abysmal, that number still outstrips their XG conceded by 7, again the biggest goalkeeping underperformance on the continent. Ward is saving just 42% of the shots he faces, third bottom among the 103 keepers in the world's 5 toughest divisions, and he's not much use on high balls into the box either, claiming just 5%, a 3% downgrade on the output of 35-year-old Schmeichel, who is himself drawing criticism in France. Closing in on 30 but with just 11 Premier League appearances to his name, it shouldn't surprise anyone that Ward is struggling to keep up. But with months until Leicester can correct the issue, the question is how big a hole he can dig them before January. So those are 10 players having awful starts to the season, but who was lucky to miss out on our 10? Let us know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, drop us a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and you'll never miss an upload. We'll see you next time.